We're breaking everything, Commanders Nation. While Adam Peters purges mediocrity with cuts that shake the locker room, a 338-pound defensive monster gasps to stay alive. And this is just a warm-up. Ready for what's hot. A Pro Bowl safety is obsessed with joining us, but Peters slams the door shut. Is it brilliance or a mistake that'll cost us the NFC East? And when you thought that was it, boom! FLORIO destroys the facade. Those retro uniforms are a Trojan horse, and the conspiracy to restore the historic name is well underway. From the streets of DC to the Oval Office, a decision is brewing, and you decide if you'll witness it or get stuck in the past. Subscribe now or regret missing the moment that will change this franchise forever. Like, shout out in the comments and don't miss what's next, because this is war. You know what's the craziest part of all this? Adam Peters is showing exactly why this organization is where it is now. After years of watching this team settle for mediocre players just because we needed bodies, we now have a general manager who's not afraid to cut anyone. And Eddie Goldman, that 338-pound defensive tackle we brought in from Atlanta, is already feeling the pressure in a way he's probably never experienced in his career. I'm telling you this. Goldman has talent, no doubt about it. 6 feet 4 inches, 338 pounds of pure muscle. But here in Washington, it's no longer just about having the physique. Peters wants production, and Goldman's stats with the Falcons last year were inconsistent at best. But let's get to the facts, because the numbers don't lie. In 2024 with Atlanta, Goldman recorded only 20 tackles in 16 games. 20 tackles! For a man weighing 338 pounds and supposed to be a run stopper, that's unacceptable. Compare him to our Darren Payne, who had 63 tackles and 6.5 sacks last season. The difference is astronomical, and you know what worries me more? This man retired for 2 years after 2021. 2 full years out of football. First, he skipped the 2020 season due to COVID, which I get, health comes first. But after playing in 2021 with Chicago, where he had a decent season with 22 tackles and 1.5 sacks, he decided to retire completely. Why? He never gave a clear explanation. Sure, technically, he should be fresher than other 31-year-old players, but I think football isn't like riding a bike. The game speed, the timing, the chemistry with your teammates, the timing to read plays, all of that is lost when you're out of football for 2 years. Your body adapts to not taking the constant punishment of the NFL. Can his body return to that level of intensity? But here's what really has me thinking. We have Darren Payne, Johnny Newton, and Javon Kinlaw as our main trio on the interior defensive line. Darren Payne is a monster, a player Dan Quinn knows perfectly, and who had the best season of his career. Johnny Newton, our second-round pick last year, showed brilliant flashes before getting injured. And Javon Kinlaw, whom we brought in from San Francisco, has all the potential in the world when healthy. Behind them, we have guys like Sheldon Day, who had excellent moments last year when given opportunities. Jalen Holmes, who has been a constant presence on our defensive line for years. Carl Davis Jr., who knows the system perfectly and has the total confidence of the coaches. Do you think Goldman is going to displace players who are already integrated into this team's culture? Players who already know the calls, who already have chemistry with their teammates, who have already earned the locker room's respect. I think Peters is sending a clear message. It doesn't matter how much we paid you. It doesn't matter where you come from. If you don't produce, you're out. And that's exactly the mentality we need to be champions. But I also think Goldman has an advantage. He's a run defense specialist. In an NFC East where we have to face Saquon Barkley twice a year, we need all the run stoppers we can get. Let's analyze his fit in our system. Dan Quinn has traditionally used deep rotations on his defensive line. In Atlanta, he used to rotate up to 8 or 9 players on the defensive line during games. Goldman would fit perfectly in those short yardage and goal line situations where you need a massive body to absorb double teams. But will Goldman's talent be enough to survive this competition? I think it all depends on his conditioning. If he comes to training camp in shape, if he shows he can handle the practice volume, if he proves his motor still runs at 31 after 2 years out, then he has a chance. But if he comes out of shape, if he looks slow, If he can't keep up with the drills, then Peters won't hesitate to cut him. And that's what I like about this new management. No sentimentalism. If that surprises you, wait to hear this, because what's coming is a direct signal that the Commanders are no longer the team nobody wants. And the proof is in the words of one of the best safeties in the NFL. Commanders fans, this is historic. Justin Simmons, a two-time Pro Bowl safety, just told us something that would have been impossible to imagine 5 years ago. This man said his number one priority is to go to a contender. And do you know what that means? That, for the first time in decades, the Washington Commanders are considered exactly that. A team that can win the Super Bowl. But let's talk about who Justin Simmons really is, because many fans don't know the caliber of player we're discussing. This man is an elite safety who has been in the league for 9 years. Two-time Pro Bowler, two-time second-team All-Pro. In 2022, he led the NFL with 6 interceptions. 6. And they aren't lucky interceptions. They're interceptions by a player who studies film, anticipates routes, and has a sky-high football IQ. I'm telling you this. When Jeremy Chinn left in free agency, many thought Adam Peters made a mistake. Chinn had 132 tackles. Last year, he was our leading tackler. But now I ask you, what if Peters knew exactly what he was doing? What if he knew players like Simmons would be available and willing to consider Washington? Let's analyze Simmons' numbers last year with Atlanta. 81 tackles, 2 interceptions, 6 pass breakups, 1 forced fumble. For a 31-year-old player, those are solid numbers, but here's what really impresses me, his versatility. Simmons can play free safety, strong safety, drop into the box and run support situations, cover slot receivers and nickel packages. Do you know what that means for our defensive system? Dan Quinn loves versatile safeties. In Atlanta, he used Keanu Neal and Ricardo Allen in multiple roles. Simmons would give him that flexibility he's looking for. Simmons told the Denver Post, "A contender is number 1 on the list right now." Do you realize what this means for our organization? 3 years ago, quality free agents wouldn't even return our calls. Now we have all pros publicly saying they want to go to contending teams, and we're in that conversation. But why is Simmons still available in July? Here's where things get interesting. Simmons is asking for a multi-year contract, probably in the range of $8 to $10 million a year. For a 31-year-old player, that's a big investment. Many teams are nervous about committing long-term to a safety who's at the tail end of his career. But here's what really excites me. Peters has faith in Quan Martin, Will Harris, Percy Butler, Jeremy Reeves, and Tyler Owens. That's the right mentality. Not panicking, not making desperate moves. Quan Martin had a promising season as a rookie. Will Harris showed significant improvements. Percy Butler has been solid when he's played. But what if we analyze the weaknesses of our secondary? Jeremy Reeves is a special teams ace, but as a starting safety, he has limitations in coverage. Tyler Owens is young and promising, but still developing. Will Harris is improved, but isn't elite. I think this is the difference between being a good team and being a great team. Good teams settle for what they have. Great teams are always looking for ways to improve. Can you imagine having Justin Simmons as our center fielder, a player who can swap roles with Quan Martin depending on the situation? But we also have to consider the cap space. Simmons is going to cost money, and Peters has been very smart managing our salary cap. We have to think about extensions for Jaden Daniels, for Terry McLaurin, for other key players. Is it worth spending $8 to $10 million on a 31-year-old safety? I think this is the new reality of the Washington Commanders. We're no longer the team that has to beg for players. We're the team that players want to consider. And that, my friends, is what separates winning organizations from losing ones. But do you think Peters should make the move now or wait to see how training camp develops? If someone gets injured, if any of our young safeties don't take the expected step forward, Simmons would be there waiting. It's a luxury that few teams can afford. And when you thought we were done, here comes the really crazy thing that's going to change everything we think we know about the future of this franchise. Because what Mike Florio just revealed isn't just a theory, it's a strategy that's been in development for years. You're crazy if you think this is a coincidence. Mike Florio just said something I've been thinking since I saw those Super Bowl era uniforms. This man says the Commanders are tiptoeing towards returning to the previous name. And I'm telling you this. He's 100% right. But before we talk about what's happening now, we need to understand the full history. Because this didn't start yesterday, it's been years in the making. Listen to this very carefully. Josh Harris and Magic Johnson have denied any possibility of changing the name. But you know what? Actions speak louder than words. These new uniforms aren't just throwbacks. They're a statement of intent. And I'm going to explain exactly why. First, let's analyze the timing. Josh Harris bought the team in 2023. One of the first things he did was publicly distance himself from any name discussion. We are the Commanders, he said. We're focused on winning. But you know what else he said? That he would listen to the fans, and the fans have been clear from day one. They want the historic name back. And do you know what's most revealing? Throughout the presentation of the uniforms, the current Golden W logo is practically hidden. It only appears on the helmet side and isn't even promoted. FLORIO is right. They're trying to make people forget about the current logo. But let's go deeper. Why are these uniforms called Super Bowl era? It's not a coincidence. It's marketing genius. They're associating these uniforms with the years when we won 3 Super Bowls. 1982, 1987, 1991. Those are the golden years of this franchise. And do you know what we wore in those years? The historic name, the Burgundy and Gold, the logo that is now hidden on the side of the helmet. I think there's a 3-phase strategy behind all this. Phase 1, establish credibility as a winning organization. Check. We reached the NFC Championship in Jaden Daniels' first year. Phase 2, reintroduce the visual elements of the golden era. Check. We have the Super Bowl era uniforms. Phase 3, the complete return of the historic name. And you know when I think it's going to happen? 2028, when we open the new stadium at the RFK site. Think about it. New stadium, historic name, classic uniforms. It would be the complete rebirth of this franchise. But here's what really has me convinced. The political factor. President Trump publicly said he would change the name back. I wouldn't have changed it, he said. It doesn't have the same ring to me. And do you know what we need to build our new stadium in DC? Federal government support, presidential support. Do you think it's a coincidence that Trump makes those comments just as we're negotiating for the new stadium? It can't be. It's basic politics. Harris needs Trump's support to secure the RFK site. Trump wants the historic name back. It's a win-win situation. The New York Jets did exactly what we're doing. In 2019, they launched modern uniforms with New York on the chest. Fans hated them. They were ugly, lacked history, had no soul. So what did they do? They went back to the Sack Exchange throwbacks and made them permanent. Now those are their main uniforms. And you know what else? The Atlanta Falcons did the same. They tried to modernize their uniforms, fans rejected them, and now they're back with more traditional looks. It's a pattern repeated throughout the NFL. Teams try to modernize, fans resist, and they eventually return to what works. To what has history. To what has sold. J.J. Watt commented, make them permanent. Robert Griffin III said they should drop the alternate tag and make them official uniforms. Fans are crying out for us to return to who we were. But do you know what's convinced me more than anything? The players' reaction. Jaden Daniels looked comfortable in those uniforms. Zach Ertz, who's played in Philadelphia, who knows the rivalry, who understands the importance of tradition, looked proud wearing those colors. And here's what really excites me. If we change the name, we're not going backward. We're reclaiming our identity. We're telling the world that we are proud of our history, that we won 3 Super Bowls with that name, that we have Hall of Famers who played with that name. I'm telling you this. If they're going to change the name, the perfect time would be with the opening of the new stadium in 2028. New stadium, historic name, classic uniforms. It would be the complete rebirth of this franchise. But what do you think? Are you ready for the return of the name that made us champions 3 times? Or do you prefer to stay with Commanders? Because I'm going to tell you something. Winning cures everything. If we had been terrible last year, no one would be talking about changing the name. But we reached the NFC Championship. Jaden Daniels had a historic season. Dan Quinn transformed our defense. Adam Peters built a winning roster. Now is when we can afford to make these changes. When we are winners. When we are respected. Look, I've been covering this team for years, and I've never seen so much movement, so much excitement, so much potential in one season. We have a general manager who doesn't accept mediocrity, free agents who see us as contenders, and a possible, complete transformation of our identity. Do you think Goldman will survive training camp, or has Peters already made the decision? Should Adam Peters call Justin Simmons right now, or trust in what we have? Are you ready for a possible historic name change? Leave your responses in the comments, because these are the conversations we need to have as a Commanders family. If you think Goldman deserves another chance, leave a like. If you think we need to bring Simmons now, comment Simmons now. And if you're ready for the return of the historic name, right, bring it back. Subscribe to this channel, because I guarantee you that tomorrow we'll have more explosive news about our Washington Commanders. This is our season, this is our opportunity, and you can't afford to miss a single update of what's happening in this organization. We are a family here, and families stay united in the most important moments. And remember, hail to the Redskins.